20 years. So festivals like Fuji Rock have stood the test of time, as have Glastonbury, Lollapalooza, and Coachella, all big names on the music festival circuit. Tickets for those are among the most coveted because they tend to draw the biggest acts. But with such a crowded calendar, some festivals are biting the dust. Let's get more on this from Anasa Troutman, who's in Nashville. She's the CEO of Artist Representatives Eloveate. Anasa, your city needs no introduction at all. The home of so much music. And I think I'm right in saying the Bonnaroo Festival is also in Tennessee. But
Yes,
we're seeing some of these big festivals around the world, not just in the United States, running into trouble. What's going on?
I think there's a few things happening. I think that the first thing is that a lot of these festivals are booking the same acts. If you look at a lot of the festivals are now owned not locally and not by small groups, but by the big giant touring companies. So they're booking the same act over multiple festivals. And so if you're going to pay $500 to see this group in this festival, you're not going to pay it again to see the same acts in another festival at another time. I think the other thing that's happening is that because the market is becoming so saturated and because people feel like music festivals are the thing to do now, a lot of the festivals that are new and popping up, they're not sustainable. They were never going to be sustainable in the first place. So the best festivals and the most successful ones are the ones that started small. They started with a niche community like Bonnaroo or like Lollapalooza, where it was like a focused kind of music. And then over time, they grew organically and they grew sustainably. But if you start 4 years ago with a festival and your lineup is like a multi-million-dollar lineup, you can't do that over and over and over and over again if you're not prepared to be able to help the festival grow. You have nowhere to go.
Well, I think you raise a good point, because I would guess that with some of these festivals, they're going to lock bands into some kind of exclusivity deal. And I would guess they're going to have to pay them quite a lot of money to do that, in which case, are they overreaching themselves financially and just simply not making enough money to sustain all that?
That's right. And it's just like any other business. The music business is just a business that has music. The principles are the same across the board. You have to be able to think about growth. You can't start all the way up here and not have a plan to be able to grow. And if you're not going to be able to, you have to be able to compete, obviously, especially in this market that's so saturated. If you start so huge, there's nowhere for you to go. There's no new audiences for you to go to. And because they're like starting at the beginning with top name, top billed artists, they're not being able to build a grassroots swell of people who are going to come to the show. People are not coming for the brand of the festival. Like if you're talking about Bonnaroo or Coachella, people are going to Bonnaroo and Coachella because it's Bonnaroo and Coachella. If you're a new festival and you're not taking the time to really generate a grassroots audience, people are going to come based on the headliner that you have. And so if you don't have the headliner people want the next year, then you're not going to sell the tickets. Or if that headliner is at one of the festivals that you love to go to anyway, you don't need to go to a newer festival that hasn't taken the time to cultivate you as an audience member.
It sounds like a vicious circle to me, Anasa, because what you're saying, I think if I understand correctly, is you may have to build these things up with bands that perhaps aren't that well known, and yet music fans now have the money and are able to travel across the world potentially to festivals. They want those big names. How do you break that cycle then in this day and age?
Well, that's the conundrum, isn't it? It's like, how do you both be able to have deep roots in a community where you know that people are going to come over and over and over again because you have a relationship with them? I mean, this is the 21st century. Everybody's competing for customers. Everyone's competing for consumers' attention. You have to do more than just have a flashy name on your bill in order to get people to be able to be loyal customers to you. People are savvy. Customers are savvy in the 21st century, and they want to be catered to. They want to be known. They want to know it's not just transactional. It's just the nature of the beast, you know? So, you know, some of the acts, I think that you have to be able to both understand the brand of the artist, but also the brand of the festival. And then some of them can't do it. Some of them can't. It's just not going to happen, you know, and they should just, you know, congratulations on your few years of success. But it's not going to go any further than that.
Another point for you, Anasa, you probably read the Pemberton Festival in just outside Vancouver went bankrupt. There are reports that customers who bought tickets for that aren't getting refunds. They've simply been told to try and sue the organizers. How much of an impact will that have on fans who potentially buy a ticket for a festival maybe a year before it takes place for several $100s and then find out that maybe that festival won't go ahead? How much impact will that have on festival goers, do you think?
I think it won't have impact on the staples, the festivals that have been around for 20 or 30 years. I don't think it will have an impact at all because again, you have brand trust because people know your festival, they know you come over and over again. But for the newer festivals, it is going to have an impact because if you feel like you're running the risk of spending 500, $1,000 on a show, and you find out a week before it that it's canceled, it's going to have an impact. Yes.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Many thanks indeed for talking to us, Anasa Troutman.